Hello, welcome to BBC Newsline. I'm Declan Harvey. The headlines. A woman in her 20s is found dead in a flat in Newtownabbey. A man's being questioned on suspicion of murder. There's no evidence to convict Soldier F over Bloody Sunday, says a defence lawyer, as he calls for the trial to be stopped. In fear of catastrophic floods, people in the northwest say little has been done to avoid a repeat of these scenes from 8 years ago.
I remember just looking out my back garden and water levels right up to my windowsill, and the panic and just opening the front door and the amount of water rushing into the houses is absolutely insane.
This week we're looking at the challenges facing local town centres, and our first stop is here in Lurgan, where there's concerns that more trains means barriers to trade.
Tonight in Belfast, another huge World Cup qualifier for the Northern Ireland football team as they take on the mighty Germany. Join me live at Windsor Park for all the big game build-up.
And you could be forgiven for thinking that the weather this week is a little dull. We are sitting under a blanket of cloud for the next 5 days. High pressure is in charge. I'll have all the details just before 7.
It's Monday, the 13th of October. A woman has died, and this evening a man has been questioned on suspicion of her murder. She is understood to be Mary McAdory, who was in her 20s. Her body was discovered at a property yesterday. It's in North Belfast, just next to the Abbey Centre shopping complex. Our reporter, Julia McCulloch, has this report.
A day after the discovery of a woman's body at a flat in this cul-de-sac in Newtownabbey, and the investigation into her death continues. This afternoon, a forensics team arrived to continue their work inside the property, while police officers searched the area outside. People living here have been struggling to take the news in. Just before 9 o'clock last night, the police released a statement to say they were at the scene of a suspicious death here in Old Mill Drive in Newtownabbey. 2 hours later, they further updated that statement to say a 40-year-old man had been arrested on suspicion of murder. Locals say Mary McAdory had only been living in the area for around a year.
The whole community is in shock. I mean, I've spoken to some residents. This news only really broke yesterday evening, so I haven't spoken to everyone yet. I've sent the family some messages, and I just have the hope that everyone is okay.
Outside of the area, the news of a woman's suspicious death was something they didn't want to hear.
It's devastating. Everyone holds their breath in Woman's Aid, and it's a Monday morning with another really, really sad news report. And I want to pass our condolences to family and to the entire community in Newtownabbey, because this impacts on a community, and we see that so often.
A 40-year-old man remains in police custody this evening after being arrested on suspicion of murder. Julie McCulloch, BBC Newsline, Newtownabbey.
Well, we're following the story, and we'll have updates throughout the evening as we get them on our website. The address is there for you. You can also find it, of course, on the BBC News app. Next this evening, at the trial of Soldier F, who is accused of murdering 2 men on Bloody Sunday, the evidence against a former paratrooper has been described as fundamentally inconsistent. A defence barrister told the court, as a result, it would be unsafe to convict the Army veteran, who is accused of 5 counts of attempted murder also. James Ray and William McKinney were both shot dead in the Bogside in 1972. Bernie Allen was in court.
Soldier F, whose anonymity is protected by a court order, denies murdering 22-year-old James Ray and 26-year-old William McKinney, as well as 5 counts of attempted murder. The 2 men were among 13 people who were shot dead by the Parachute Regiment at a civil rights demonstration in the Bogside area of Derry in January 1972.
Today, a defence barrister told the court that he thought it would be unsafe to convict the former Army veteran because there is simply no evidence to meet the necessary threshold for a conviction. Defence barrister Mark Mulholland said the danger of this case is that there is a cherry-picking of certain elements of it.
Mr Mulholland said it had been the prosecution's promise that its decisive evidence, the military witness statements made by Soldier G and Soldier H from 53 years ago, would be supported by civilian evidence. Soldier G is deceased and Soldier H is unwilling to testify in court, and their statements are from previous inquiries. Earlier in the trial, a court was told that those military witness statements were the only evidence capable of proving Soldier F fired at civilians at Glenfada Park North. Today, Mr Mulholland told the court that Soldiers G and H's hearsay evidence is unconvincing and fundamentally inconsistent. He said there is no support in the civilian evidence for the prosecution's proposition that Soldiers G and F entered Glenfada Park North, both opening fire in or about the same time, followed by Soldier H, who himself opens fire. The trial continues. Bernie Allen, BBC Newsline.
Well, thanks for being with us on BBC Newsline this evening. And coming up in just a couple of minutes, Dunloy have done it after waiting nearly 90 years. GAA joy in the County Antrim village. First though, 8 years on from severe flooding across the northwest, residents have been voicing their anger that major schemes to protect their homes in future still haven't been approved. There was a public meeting on Friday with Stormont officials who said protecting the Eglinton and Drumahoe areas with flood defences would cost around £25 million. Here's our Northwest reporter Kieran Turish.
Flooding problems in places like Eglinton have been well documented in recent years. In 2017 and again in 2022, a trail of destruction was left behind. Departmental officials have told residents that a business case is being worked on, but it may not be finalised until next year or the year after. It could result in a £15 million scheme in Eglinton and £10 million for flood defences in Drumahoe. But residents are angry at the slow progress.
We should be in a position to be seeing results. I feel in a way that the people aspect is being missed and we're focusing on costs and efficiency and weighing things like that up, but we're not looking at the people that are being impacted.
This was James Feeney at his flooded home in Eglinton in 2017. He had to carry out extensive repairs. 8 years on, he's highly critical of the authorities at Stormont.
But disappointed, they thought that there'd be a bit of uplifting information, but I don't think it's there. I don't think it's there for the people of Eglinton anyway.
For those who suffered in the floods, it's had a huge mental strain, not least the constant fear that it could happen again.
I was affected very, very badly. I remember just looking out my back garden and water levels right up to my windowsill, and the panic and the scaredness that my whole family felt, and just opening the front door and the amount of water rushing into the houses is absolutely insane.
Our endeavours are to put schemes in place for flood alleviation schemes for Drumahoe and Eglinton. The Minister is fully committed to that. We have funding for it for this year for taking forward our studies. It's in our bids for future years to take forward those studies. If the schemes change viability, we may have to relook at that, but we are doing everything we can to take forward flood alleviation schemes for these two areas.
The residents of the affected areas say that while they appreciate the update from departmental officials, they want to see their concerns urgently addressed. For them, that means a fully funded flood plan, with work beginning sooner rather than later. Kieran Turish, BBC Newsline, Derry.
Now, it has taken almost 100 years, 89 to be exact, for the footballers of Dunloy in County Antrim to get their hands on that piece of silverware and claim the GAA County Senior title. It's a village known for its hurling prowess, but now the bunting is out again and it seems it's taking time to sink in. Marie McCann has this.
It took almost 90 years, but Dunloy won the Antrim Senior Football Championship by 3 goals and 12 points to Corrigan's 2 goals and 6 at Corrigan Park yesterday. A win that means a lot to people here. The last time their name was on the trophy was in 1936.
Hasn't really sunk in yet. No, 89 years is a long time to wait, so Might be the day, might be tomorrow, but hopefully I'll think it at some stage.
I think it means everything. If you'd have seen the scenes in Dunloy last night, absolutely crazy scenes, and we come back into the village, that just shows what everybody thought. Everybody's very, very happy, very excited this morning. Everybody we talk to, you can't even just go into the shop and get milk or nothing. Everybody wants to talk about it.
Anthony's dad, Paddy, is the club's bus driver and brought the champions back to the village last night.
There's a lot of great men, great footballers in Dunloy that have dedicated their life to it and have never got the pleasures of getting the cup or getting anything. But these young chaps that came through this past 5 or 6 years has done that for the older generation like myself and the older men that has went before me.
Well, no, I wasn't born. My daddy was, but I wasn't.
Father McCampbell's father was on the winning team in 1936.
We're in the hurling field here. If you look over there, there's the chapel. You see the chapel over there? So you've got the chapel, you've got the hurling field, and you've got the club here, and you've got the school here. So it's all together. We're all together. It's the centre of the parish, and it's a great sense of satisfaction for everybody.
People think of us as a hurling club over the years, but to finally get our hands on a football championship after 89 years is amazing, and it's, I suppose it's no small testament to the amount of hard work and dedication that was underage over the last 10, 15 years, and it's now playing fruits across all coats.
So many family connections, so many of the kids have got parents playing for the teams. We've got parents who are colleagues in the school who had children playing as well. So, the excitement was tangible, palatable all week leading up to it. And then yesterday and again today, it's just bubbling in there today. The kids are just over the moon with the outcome of yesterday's game.
Well, everyone here is very excited about yesterday's win, but more so about the possibility in the Ulster Championship.
Now, this week on the programme, we're taking a look at our town centres and the health of our high streets. Many of them are facing difficulties. There is, of course, the pressure brought by online and out-of-town shopping, as well as rent and rate bills. But some areas do have unique extra challenges. And this evening we start in Lurgan as an example. The problems there relate to an increase in the number of trains. Our South East reporter, Cormac Campbell, is standing by for us in Lurgan. Good to see you. Those gates behind you, it appears to me, have just closed, and that might be a clue between the link between railways and the concerns traders have.
Well, Declan, to say they've just closed, well, that's a matter of debate, because when they come down, they tend to stay down for up to 3 minutes before a train actually comes through. So we'll see if that happens in this short segment. But yes, this is the William Street level crossing, and that's where trains make their way through the centre of Lurgan. They're not new, they've been here for decades, but they do cause major inconvenience. There's traffic building up in the Lock Road, there's traffic building up on William Street, and last year the number of enterprise services between Belfast and Dublin was increased. Now, that service doesn't stop here in Lurgan, but it does pass through, and when those gates come down, it does create that added congestion. And many of the businesses here in Lurgan, well, they say that in addition to all of those other difficulties, the rent, the rates, the national insurance, online and out of town, well, they have to contend with this added inconvenience. They say people are maybe avoiding this area as a result of this problem, and that it's creating a barrier to trade.
Pick a town, any town, and high streets are facing the same challenges.
The footfall is not coming in there in town, but yet for some reason businesses are getting hit hard with escalating charges and prices, between the rent going up every single year, national insurance being added on. They're in survival mode more so than anything else.
Rates is just slightly under 20,000 a year, and our rent is about 42,500 a year. Before you cover your insurance, your alarms, your phone, your electricity, your heating, your staffing bills, and your stock that you have to buy.
But on William Street in Lurgan, there's an added problem. Since the number of enterprise trains have increased, the level crossing here has been coming down for as long as 22 minutes per hour.
This is the main arterial route to the town centre.
It's not the only crossing in the town, there's 3 of them. And those three crossings, I counted it up, they cause 90 roadblocks a day to the town. And they're all on roads heading into the town centre. So you can guess what trouble it causes the town and the footfall to the town.
Down more than they used to be, yeah, absolutely. It's just a nightmare, so it is. Trying to get in and out, you know, especially when you're lunch deliveries or something, you know, or whatever, people need to get fed quicker. Even customers want to nip in real quick, you know, and get a quick bite to eat. It's hard because the congestion, you know, you're sitting in traffic for ages. Nobody wants to sit in traffic.
Plans to reduce waiting times at the crossings are being developed, but could take years to implement. Because of this and the High Street's other problems, Sinead has become the latest trader to close her shop and move online. Cormac Campbell, BBC Newsline, Lurgan.
Well, throughout the week we'll be looking at some of the other towns in Northern Ireland. We'll have Lisnaskea, we'll have Larne, and the challenges that they're facing. And here in Lurgan, where a train is just about to pull out of the station and pass behind you and the traffic is building up, there's hope, TransLink say, that a new signalling system could be introduced that could ultimately reduce the amount of time these barriers stay down.
Cormac, thank you very much. I don't think we could have timed that better, do you think? Now, after a big win last Friday, there's another huge night of World Cup qualifying football for Northern Ireland. So it's back to Stephen Watson, back to Windsor Park. He's standing by. How does the atmosphere there compare, Stephen, do you think?
Declan, it's starting to build. This place, absolutely no doubt, will be bouncing this evening. The general consensus is that Friday's game against Slovakia doesn't get much better for Northern Ireland. On the pitch, the performance was fabulous. A 2-0 win against Slovakia. Off it, the fans created an absolutely wonderful atmosphere, and we're hoping for much more of the same tonight. This is a step up in class for Michael O'Neill's side. They're taking on the 4-time world champions Germany, who did beat Northern Ireland in the corresponding fixture in Cologne last month. Northern Ireland did give a decent account of themselves, though, despite criticism from their German manager about their tactics. In a moment, I'll be joined by 2 former internationals live, but first, here's Gavin Andrews.
You know, it's always a comment, I think, that is labelled that a smaller opponent, that they play in a more long ball style, but Germany played a lot of long balls too in the game. So
beautiful to watch when you only see long balls, but it was not disrespectful, because the key topic I mentioned is that it's really, really tough to defend it, and they beat a lot of teams by doing this. It was kind of a compliment and a positive thing I mentioned, and it was, I promise, it was not, I didn't mean it disrespectful.
So no war of words, and O'Neill, on his 100th game in charge, is focused only on the here and now.
This is game 4 out of 6, that's all it is, it's no more. You know, everyone puts this.
2 men who know all about big occasions at Windsor Park. The record goal scorer David Healy and former international Stuart Dallas. David, can Northern Ireland do it again tonight?
Absolutely, why not? I thought we were so good the other night, energetic, youthful, no naivety, what we talked about beforehand. So we're coming into the game. I think the Germans should fear us. Nagelsmann's called us out, being a long ball team. I believe in the paper today, a small apology. Long balls with intent, so let's put some long balls in, test them tonight.
Stuart, Northern Ireland arrive here tonight. Conor Bradley's with them, but he's not playing. One change to the team, in comes Brodie Spencer. Is that one change going to be key tonight for Northern Ireland?
Yeah, I think obviously off the back of a good result the other night, Michael has had no need to make any changes. The big question for me is, can they play at that same intensity for, you know, this second game? I think substitutions is going to be key for them tonight, particularly in the second half. But Brodie, we know what Brodie's about. We know how good he is. He came on the other night. He was fantastic. So, you know, I have no issues with him, you know, sliding in there for Conor.
There are only 2 Northern Ireland managers who have taken charge of the country 100 times. Billy Bingham and now Michael O'Neill. This is a special manager for Northern Ireland.
He's a special man, and again, I only worked for him with him briefly as manager. I've spent a lot of time in his company in the last sort of number of years, and the early stages of my coaching career. Always there to be helpful with information, everything else. Always wants to help the former players, which again for us, it's certainly a great help. So hopefully tonight goes well for him. He did say the other night's not about him, but I've no doubt he'll be coming into the game hoping, praying that it's a big night for him and the rest of the team.
Sure, that superb performance against Slovakia. The win meant Northern Ireland are
talking tonight. You know, the game on Friday night was the best atmosphere I've heard here in a long time, and I know I said the other night I want the fans in early. David, you wanted to open the gates, didn't you? You know, hopefully it's a good night for our country.
Yeah, absolutely. Stuart, David, thank you. Let's hope the fans can propel Northern Ireland to a win tonight. If you haven't got a ticket, you can see the game live on BBC Two at 7:30 and on the iPlayer. The Republic of Ireland suffered heartbreak on Saturday night when Portugal scored an injury time winner in their World Cup qualifier. The Republic take on Armenia tomorrow night, and they need a win if they're to keep their hopes of making the finals alive, as Mark Sidebottom reports.
Despite the pain of that injury time defeat in Portugal, the mood in the Republic of Ireland camp this morning in Dublin is weirdly upbeat, and that's because of the performance, which gave a restoration of pride in the jersey. But now at the midpoint in this qualifying campaign, pride is no longer enough. What's required is points, and the management and players, they know that Armenia is win or bust.
We worked so hard to be in that position, to have a point against Portugal. Would have changed the mood to have a point tomorrow. Would change that, and I believe that we are gonna do that.
So a restoration of confidence in what the Republic of Ireland now needs is a sprinkling of goals. One would be enough, according to the manager. It doesn't matter how they win, only that they win. Mark Sidebottom, BBC Newsline, Dublin.
In local football, Coleraine are the new leaders of the Irish Premiership table. They beat their Derby rivals Ballymena United 3-1 on Saturday to move 2 points clear at the top, with Matthew Shevlin scoring twice at the showgrounds. They took advantage of Glentoran's first defeat of the season as they lost 3-1 away to the improving Dungannon Swifts. But there was better news for the Glentoran women's team, who clinched the Women's Irish Premiership title yesterday with a 1-0 victory in the final game of the season over their closest rivals, Cliftonville. And Ulster Rugby won the first of 3 games against South African opposition when they defeated the Bulls 28 points to 7 on Saturday night in Belfast. It means 2 bonus point victories to start the season for Richie Murphy's side.
We want to be a little bit unpredictable in our game, and you know we're obviously trying to work the ball to space. You know, sometimes that space is on the edge, sometimes that space is through the middle, and sometimes it'll be in the backfield. So, like, you know, being able to see and execute and be calm enough under huge pressure to be able to do that, that's what we need to do, and it's exactly the type of team that we want to be.
That's it, live from the National Stadium at Windsor Park. Don't forget to join us, BBC Two at 7:30 for Northern Ireland against Germany. You can also see the game on the iPlayer, and we have live commentary on BBC Sounds. This is going to be a special sporting occasion tonight.
Stephen, thank you, and we're reassured as well that the speakers work, so that's all good. Now, a bright weekend brought out the crowds in Belfast. This was yesterday in the city centre, but it gave way to a beautiful sunset last night. This is Groomsport, but Jeff is here. It's all gone a bit dull since then, really, hasn't it?
It has, I'm afraid, yes. Blanket of cloud overhead through today. The best chance of seeing any breaks came to the lee of high ground, as this picture from Newcastle illustrates quite nicely. That cloud thick enough in places to produce some patchy light rain and drizzle through the day. But generally, as we go through the next week or so, it's going to stay pretty dry despite all of the cloud overhead. Where we did get some breaks through this afternoon and evening, that cloud is going to fill back in overnight tonight. Quite mild under the cloud, lows of 8 to 11 degrees. And with high pressure in charge of our weather, it's quite a settled picture. It's going to be a story of dry, cloudy conditions and only very light winds, so nothing really to turn the air over. This then is the scene for tomorrow morning. We'll have hill fog and over the tops of the hills. We'll have mist in some sheltered spots. Quite a grey day. Top temperatures 13 to 15 degrees and only very light winds. A slight shift in the direction means a few different places might get to see those breaks in the cloud. Overnight again, though, the cloud will thicken back up again. And again, we could see some mist and fog forming on what will be another mild night. Tuesday into Wednesday, lows of 8 to 10 degrees. This then is the area of high pressure that is giving us this very settled run of days. It's staying in place overhead, so only very, very light winds. And it's not until the weekend that we'll see any sort of change. Wednesday is another day. You can see this gentle circulation. We might just see a few bright breaks developing here and there. Those temperatures remain pretty constant, 13 to 15 degrees, the top temperature on Wednesday. By the time we get to Thursday, maybe just a little bit more in the way of brightness. We're just starting to see the breeze freshening up across parts of the Republic, so that might just turn the air over enough to see a bit more in the way of brightness. Top temperatures 13 to 15 degrees, but generally staying pretty settled as we go through the week. It's not until the weekend that we're expecting to see anything in the form of rain.
Jeff, thank you very much. And that is your very latest from the BBC Newsroom here in Belfast. Thanks for watching. We'll update you again at 10:30. But until then, from all of us here, have a great evening. Bye-bye.